Hello and welcome to this another slapdash tutorial, or rather a showcase, because one of the comments on my last video asked me whether or not per floor DNS and Firewall was better or worse than if it were all kind of like centralized, is kind of what I got from the comment. And I figured I'd just start up the endless game I have. It's currently day 11, and don't worry about the account balance. I'm good. Yeah, I've got a couple of services just running. Everyone loves it, and I'm not even botting, so I'm chilling. I'm laughing. So I suppose I'll walk through the Datacenter, just a brief overview of what's happening. So I currently have everything in a line, running vertically and not vertically. So all of the user floors and business floors, again, this is bad practice. You shouldn't put it all on the same line like I have. Send your businesses straight to the data center. Don't worry about linking it in with the main line. Just let the customers fight. Let the customers fight for the service. Because some customers being able to access the service better than none of them, because their router went down or something. So I'll have a look at the tower link really quickly, and you'll see it's I'll just show you the tower view. So it's, floor 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. I don't have another group of clients available. I typically, just check every couple of days. I'm waiting for day 12 to refresh my proposals. But, yeah, I hook them all up with fiber. Again, probably shouldn't. You really don't have to. And I've got a couple of, just casual dwellers, cozy foodies, scientific researchers, mail hub and recycling center. They're not my primary, income source. God no. They're actually doing a horrible job of, paying my wage. So I've been doing that myself, which you can do too, quite easily, and I might make a follow-up on how to go about doing that. But I think that in terms of my tower structure, it's probably best I go and just show what's happening on this disco, and just kind of explain where the fuck is that going. And just explain kind of what this router does. So this is the main kind of like connection between everything on the different floors and the data center, which manages like mainline DNS and all of the store text website, the read text website, and also the update server, which really does not have to be this big, but it is that big. I separate my businesses down to their individual components as much as I can, because what I noticed with read text and update software, so if you do both at the same time on a website, you end up with a lot of clients trying to clog up and use all the users, which isn't ideal for when you want your business to not be mad at you and breach SLA. So I've kind of segregated the users from the businesses in that sense, at least. So the line comes in on port 5 through fiber, and then I just quickly route port 3 is DNS. I won't go into the specific routing rules here because I'm not using RIP, but it's effectively, you know, anything in that wants to go through to store text, it goes through to store text. Anything that wants to go through to read text goes through there. And anything that wants to go and update will go and update. And that's pretty much it. That's all this does. I need to like get a new router in here is what I need to do. That is something I really, really need to do. Don't mind the mess. Just ignore that. Just pretend I'm not doing anything here. The reason I'm not doing botting is because I learnt that I can't force fake users to go onto my egregiously expensive web service. I can only make it go to businesses. So I was kind of disappointed in bots in that sense, that I can't force them to go to my $5 per view like text.com, you know. Yeah, please do not mind the mess. I'm begging you not to mind the mess. So let's just jump to the first floor, and I'll show you what this fiber link will link to. I took a box with me, yeah, I took a little box. Cool, so this is the mess. Welcome to the mess. So orange only ever connects to green, and green only ever connects to orange, is my cabling theory for at least uplink and downlink. So what I have here is the fiber cable coming in from the bottom floor and linking up into this router here. And what it does then is it says, yeah, we have a DNS here, you know, just running. It's a crummy little backup. It truly, I don't think, is going to do a good job of anything. In fact, I think this was auto replaced and is not even running a DNS service anymore. So it's just kind of draining power for no reason. But that's hindsight. I'll fix that some other time. So the way I am kind of doing like safety in the sense of, what if old mate scientific researcher here wanted to, you know, distribute malware on my network? Well, switches don't have the issue of, you know, malware pivoting on them. You know, that's only like routers and servers, I think, are the two main things that are hit by malicious user packets. You know, like annoying Morris or the, you know, DDoS attacks or anything like that. So I just chuck them onto a switch, you know, until I can, and I'll explain later my alternative. But I just put them on the switch for now, and then just force them through Firewall with the Firewall rules set as, you know, accept all of the common ports and then deny everything else. Thank you to the wiki for making that list of ports. Very, very handy. Also, wiki maintainers, please add UDP0 as power wake. Because whenever you, like, I don't think anyone uses the power command. It needs a little bit of love. But yeah. So that's just per floor. This is kind of what I do on a user floor. So once their local DNS server has completely run out of users, it will then say, oh, well, my DNS address, like my main one is my floor's DNS, but my backup one is the one in the data center. So I'll go down port 6, and then I'll hit the router down there, and I have a routing rule for /0/DNS for anyone at all. And yeah, that's how I handle like routing my users to a specific fallback. And generally, I'll explain that later. I will explain why this doesn't have anything on it later by showing you the better one. Again, later. Right now we're going to go to the mail hub and show you very, very small. So all this does is, again, orange links to green into port 1 out. So the only thing that's happening is the mail hub is hooked up to this firewall here, and then that firewall is feeding directly into the router here, and the only rule on that router is effectively, are you trying to go to mail hub? No. Well, whatever. Because I'm pretty sure all of these drop unmatched traffic and broadcasts as well. I'm not too sure. But I will absolutely do that when I have the rip command, which I've been hoping for, crossing my little fingies for, ever since I learned how to use it in the previous video. Yeah, so that's port 0. We'll lead back up again. So we'll jump up to floor 3 now. Now this floor, please do not judge me for this. I'm judging me for this. Okay, so since this guy is way out of the way and a 2000 length piece of cable doesn't reach, and I can't be bothered running like a data replicator, one of those, oh, we'll repeat the packet and send it on. I can't be bothered with that. I figured I'd just have everything kind of here, but there's no PowerPoints kind of right here. There's one here, but there were already shelves here, and the port. It was a horrible flaw. I feel shame, but it's fine because we followed the same format. So we chucked down, a switch of some kind. Again, once we hit day 15 specifically, we'll have access to something that will almost halve the requirements on each floor. And I'm looking forward to that day. So, yep, orange on the floor below us, connected to the green, connects into the router, and the orange on this floor connects again into just it's a daisy chain. It's just a daisy chain, and it doesn't matter which port you put it on, as long as you remember, hey, this one kind of needs to go down, this one kind of needs to go up. Cool. This one also has its own local DNS. Hopefully this one's actually set correctly. So the network address here is like /3/DNS, but the DNS address for this server is the main data center address. What that means is every time a request comes through on this, like a backup DNS server or the DNS server for this floor, if it doesn't have it, it'll go down to the data center, look it up, and cache the result in the local one here. So I don't need to set any DNS mappings per floor. I just set it on the data center, and then that's it. That's all I need to set. All I need to do is set a network address, and then I'm all good. Pretty much. Again, the same situation with the firewall. It connects into the switch and from the firewall into the router to stop any malicious packets coming or going. So if you ignore the hideous, you know, like cable management that I've got here, it's pretty straightforward. It does get kind of expensive, which is a problem. So typically what I'll do is I'll just like put only like a router down and put all of the users on their own individual port as well as the local DNS server. That way, if anyone's got like a fiber, like a fiber port that I need to connect to get them onto my network, I can just chuck it in on the router without having to worry about like dual mode switching, which is pretty handy. The only downside is it's only going directly into a router. So if any malicious packets hit it, the malicious packet hits the router, and then it jumps from that router to every other router on my network, and then to every server on my network. Unless it is day 15. So on day 15, we unlock a new type of disco router, one with high availability. Now, high availability is cool and all, but what's cooler is jailbreaking. So let me I don't think I saved that lab instance, but I'll just jump to floor 4, and I'll show the final floor here that I have. Again, it's really simple. It's just hooked in to the Firewatch, to the business. I don't even need VoIP. None of my users need like VoIP right now, so that's fine and dandy. I don't need to worry about that. Probably will on the next floor though. Get out of here. Cool. Right, so I suppose I'll just kind of... Do I have any routers that are high availability yet? No, because again, it's not day 15 yet. But on day 15, I will absolutely show you what that will look like. I don't know if any of these are the correct one, so I'm just going to pick one, and if it's not, we'll roll with it. This is absolutely not the correct one, but that's fine, because we have most of what we need already. Cool. So I'm gonna chuck this here. This is the old router that we were using on each floor, and it doesn't have a lot of storage space in it, right? So if I were to... Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't need that. You know, I'm gonna steal this one. It's too short. Love that for me. Love that. Love that. Still loving that. This can go away. You know, that's safe. Cool. So this is on, this is running. Did I rename this to anything? No. Cool. So let's set up this Golonys Cinco for a little bit of goofing around. So net DHCP disable on this guy. Love that, love that. Alright, I need to use the debugger first. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Cool, cool. And I think I need to install Netpeeker on the Golonys. So we'll I aliased sftp ls on as just ls. So I just need to do ls and throw that on. If it is the right. Yep. Cool. Yeah, so I already had RT kernel on there. That's cool and all. But what I want to do is I want to copy Netpeeker onto it. So what I'll do is I'll sftp cp, but I've aliased cp to be that already. So I need to just cp Netpeeker on debug to the Cinco, and then I will net a set the I'll just set its name to storage. Cool. Now does this have Netpeeker running on it? It does. So that's all good. Now I can say always using, or rather always using storage. Cool, and get rid of this forever. Don't need a debugger anymore. Unless I need 2 ports for some reason. But I need the storage for now. So that's what we're going to roll with. So we have pre-established that on the storage we have Netpeeker, which is running, and RT kernel, which is not. What we need is one specific little funny thing, and that is called proprietary firewall technology. So we're going to just rip out the firmware for a firewall. Inline network tap with port. We don't need that. We just need something. We're never going to use this because we have a plan. Again, excuse the mess. It's a data center. It's not a living space. Cool. So plug that in. Realize the cord's too short. Plug it into that instead, I suppose. Cool. So on this Firewatch, which we've just connected to with our storage now, let's have a little look inside. Let's sftp ls, or for me, just ls. So on this Firewatch, we have 3 files. We have Firewatcher, which is the thing that will allow us to access the firewall command on a device if it's running on a device. The NF tables, which is again pretty descriptive. It's the configuration for the firewall. We don't need to copy this unless we want to copy the rules from a firewall. And WireRat, which will allow, like network tapping and things like that. We don't need WireRat, we just need Firewatcher right now. So what I'll do is I will copy bin Firewatcher on the thingamabob, the Firewatch, firewall, to my storage. Cool. Now it has no chance of running on the Golonys Cinco because it's, come on, it's got like one It's got one CPU, like one memory, but it has like removable storage, which is what makes it good. Specifically for me and what we are trying to do here and now. So now that we've got the firmware, we don't need this fucking thing anymore. We can get rid of it, basically. We could scrap it if we want to, because we have a better way. I'm gonna actually put this up here. So the Disco Nano 3H, and again, all high availability models, if you aren't going to be using high availability, there is something really, really valuable that you can do to save $550 and a load of power. And that is to move the jailbroken software from the Firewatch onto the Disco Nano to prevent like malicious packets passing through at the router level. That means the setup we had before with the, you know, the 10 port, you know, or the 10 port little router, like these things, these are no longer insecure. They are now securing themselves because they're running Firewatch, as if they were like a network, like firewall. So let's have a little look on this Disco Nano 3H. It has high availability kernel, and it has its routes. Cool. Let's copy the hack kernel firmware, because I do not actually have it yet on this Synco. I think it might actually be too big. 3, 4, 5. I need one more storage to be put in, so let's not bother. What we're going to do is straight up remove hack kernel from this router. It now can no longer route. As we can see, it is no longer a network router. However, what you'll notice is that HA kernel is a size of 3, but Firewatcher and RT kernel are both sizes of 1. You're starting to see where I'm getting at here. So Firewatcher will create a config file which is a size of 1, and there's already a routes.config on there which was a size of 1. So we're going to hit the capacity of the storage on the router by adding, just like by downsizing to the simple RT kernel without high availability, and just duct taping Firewatcher to it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's copy bin RT kernel on storage to, I think it was /0, no, it was just 0 router. Cool. So the RT kernel's on there now. And let's copy Firewatcher as well. Now let's ls on the router. And as we can see, the RT kernel's looking fine. Firewatcher's on there now. It even created the NF tables firewall config on there. Let's view running on the router. And yes, we can confirm that the RT kernel and Firewatcher are both running. This means if we were to run firewall show on, yep, as you can see, 83166 is a firewall, but it is also a router. Now, you could be, you know, boring and add the rules manually one by one, or you could create probably a big alias to say, you know, clear the firewall allow ICMP, allow TCP23, allow TCP80, allow 44333. All of the default ones just in one command, and this is not all the default ones. I have made mistakes, I will need to rewrite it. But yeah, there's alias what you think is boring, and you'll have to write multiple times. So let's go ahead and set up Firewall on this guy. Cool. So the router has set a bunch of different policies for the firewall, specifically ones to allow. Now all we need to do is firewall default deny on and ping the router. And as we can see, we're pinging. But what if we wanted to send something that's not, you know, just like an ICM? What if we wanted to send literally a packet called a malicious? No, can't do that because it hit the firewall. TCP 23 perhaps? Yep, we're good. You know, what if we wanted to do DNS? Yep, that's fine. DHCP, that's completely fine too. And so that's how you would organize, just saving so much money. Like paying the money to get SFTP and Jailbreak and praying that you make it to day 15 so you can install like that firewall software on your router to keep your system smaller. Like this is only 25 watts. The Firewatcher uses probably a lot more than that. Let's have a look. Yeah, like halving your power consumption per floor if you don't want to annoy the power company, you know, by threatening them with litigation. And you only have one device to worry about replacing, which makes it easier to maintain, you know, the specific like floors that you are, you know, set up on. So yeah, that's what I plan to do on day 15 and what I haven't done yet. These routers, once they're set up with the firewall, you can save that firewall config and apply it to new routers as you like. So now that the rules are actually on here, I would probably go ahead and, you know, copy the NF tables as opposed to having to run that command every single time, and just say, you know, copy the NF tables to the new device, and we could probably alias that entire process now that we have Firewatcher, RT kernel, and even the NF tables. We could just copy RT kernel, Firewatcher, back up the existing routes on the router, and then replace the routes. Oh, we wouldn't even need to do that because the routes aren't going to change. But yeah, that's something that we can like automate with an alias. What else? So yeah, the full vertical system, it can work if you've got the patience to deal with a fully vertical network. As you can see here, this entire line is disconnecting all of these users from all of these users. So either make sure that your devices are not at risk, not at reliability risk, and yeah, like cross your fingers and pray, basically. The alternative to doing it like this is to group sections of users. So let's say you had, this is a bad example. Let's say you had on floor 1, that's always a customer floor. Floor 2 is has a chance of being just a business or a business and a customer sometimes. What you can do is you can group users based on every like X amount of floors that you feel comfortable managing on a link, and making, instead of it's like 12 high, it's 3 high, but there's multiple sets of the 3. So instead of doing it like that, you would not even worry about that, and you would have like these devices linking into their own like section of the data center, or their own port on the router in your data center. Like, connecting a router to a router, that's no problem, bro. Like, it's completely fine. You can go ahead and do that. Like, we're already doing that. Routers are probably the most optimal way to transmit the data like that. If you wanted to have, like, buy a $4,000 switch just to have high traversal for like 2 ports, just use a router. Just please use a router. I know, like, if you want, you can straight up remove the router software off a router and replace it with Blade OS off a switch. You can make a router a switch. You just gotta replace the firmware on it, and then you'll be completely fine. But yeah, I think that's kinda most of what I was trying to say. I guess the main thing is there's a lot of things that I would change about the way I have built. I think building like all on one line, as I have, was not the best. So building all on, you know, this one line, like from floor 1 to floor 2 to floor 3 to floor 4, it can cause me problems, and will probably cause me problems in the future. I would, yeah, send floor 4 and floor 2 directly to the data center, and then I would send floor 1 and 3 as kind of like a group. So they would link together, because they don't all need to go to the data center. Like, the data center, the more stuff you've got in here, the more you start racking up a bit of a bill. So the more you can put on the floors of the users, the less strain you're going to have overall, financially, especially early on. And that's why you see, like, at least in my games, hardware getting replaced in positions like this, where, you know, even though like this server is like a real crummy thing, it does take a bit of load off of the traversals. Like, overall, I mean, that's not good. The lower you go in the tower, the worse it'll get. So if you wanted to make it full vertical and full, like, 1 firewall per floor, early, I would recommend trying, like, not to do it like this. Like, you'll spend a lot of money on sockets, you'll spend a lot of money on specifically firewalls, like, early on, unless you do not care and want all of your stuff wormed and DDoSed. UPSs, though, absolutely mandatory pick for me, at least. Unexpected power outages, or worst case scenario, a surge. That's gonna, like, cost a lot more money than if you were to get a UPS. I start with the small UPS because, like, typically I don't have a lot of stuff connected per floor. So I'll have, when I start off, I'll only have, you know, floor 1 and 2, and I can run that with just this DNS. Like, floor 2 doesn't need, you know, to connect to an update server yet, and the users, they don't need a store text or a read text server yet. But, a funny little thing, the more you can take out loans and owe a lot of money to really, like, people you should not owe money to. But as long as you come out on top, don't be afraid to take out loans. Like the $1,000 loans, like, they're completely manageable. It's just $10 off. You make that back with like a little bit of network fee. And that $1,000 can be the difference between you crashing out and breaching an SLA, or, you know, being able to buy a UPS and keep your floor alive. And the actual, like, loan, you don't have to really pay it back, because you pay back the interest every day. Right, so this isn't getting bigger. Like, the loan's not getting bigger, it's not getting worse. It'll be here for when we're ready to deal with it, but until then, we're paying the interest every day. So don't panic when you see the loans and say, I don't need a loan. Just take the money. Just take it. Don't stress it. Like, having enough money early to, like, future-proof and, like, buy shelves, or, like, in the case of, like, floor 2, for example, up here. Let me come over. Yeah, I think that there was only one fiber port here, but since this guy's Ethernet, and maybe you don't want fiber, maybe you're doing this like Ethernet straight down into the data center, you can just spend 500 to build a socket, so you can save money on like, because this is just too far. This is just too far. 2,500. You can't reach that with an Ethernet cable. You will need like a media repeater, and that has a chance of breaking. So it's have a port a little bit closer for $500, or have a device that you will have to replace every now and then, which will, in all likelihood, limit the amount of traffic you need to go, and also take up, you know, like, wattage of the UPS that's probably managing a bunch of important stuff here. Or in the case of starting out and sending it straight to the data center, none of that matters. Just send it straight down, forget everything. $500 well spent, dust your hands, and then, you know, the only problem is, you know, traversal. The average is fine. The average is fine, but later in the day, it gets a little bit heavy. I'm gonna upgrade it. I have enough money. Everything is fine. Everything is completely fine. Is everything? Yeah, everything is completely fine. So, yeah, and like a DNS on every floor, I wouldn't say DNS on every floor. I would say DNS specifically on floors with either users, because these are only $500. Like, they take out like a pretty big chunk of, you know, like, time out of your UPS, but this is still 2.8 hours. And it's only a 71 watt load. Well, actually, that's a lie. It's actually more than that, because I'm running, you know, Firewatcher, you know, this switch, and a router. Generally, what you can do is, if you're starting off early, just a DNS server. Love that for me. Love that for me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tenebolt, you fucking bastards. So what you can do is you can just full send everyone through on the floor, just on the basic Blade 5 you start with, through a socket to the next floor, but also have, you know, the little boulder. You can plug that into your Blade 5 as well, you know, scraping, you know, the oats from the bottom of the barrel. You're skinny, you're hungry, you're starving, and you need the money to survive here in the tower. And that's how you'll kind of do it, is just by scraping the barrel until you got enough money to actually refactor, because the users aren't really going to care. Well, they will care, but I don't think that they'll care enough to, you know, breach SLA super hard. I think the only problem is whenever, you know, they're going to be like, because like users, they're your money makers. People say, oh, businesses, they'll make you so much money, bro. No, they're not doing enough. Like the businesses, they're not doing enough. Look though, like it's fine, and if I had more, it would be even more fine. But that's just it. It's just take care of. I won't say take care of your customer. Your customers do not matter. Only the businesses really matter. Ha ha ha. But think about every time you disconnect a person. That's $1 per traversal to your data center, where you're running your store text that you might be missing out on. So if you're gonna like do a big refactor, try and have a bunch of coffee, you know, and get it done as quick as you can, just so that you can, you know, get through after the fact with pretty high, you know, happiness for the people, and you know, they'll take care of you financially. Like, I'm so much money in the hole, but every day I'm making almost 5k now. Just because they're feeling pretty chill about it. And all that money feeds straight back into improving the data center to extract even more money from them. As you can see with these little devices here, which I was going to upgrade the DNS, didn't end up doing it, couldn't be bothered. I'm going to start the run again. Because the more I play, the more it's like buying a hamburger at McDonald's, putting the hamburger like on the tray, like you've got it on a tray, you put it on the table in the McDonald's, and you walk out of the McDonald's without like observing the burger, and then walking back into the McDonald's about 5 minutes later and seeing quote unquote your burger. It's not really your burger anymore. Like, I don't feel the connection to this game as much anymore now that I know what I know, and have seen different, well, I wouldn't say seeing different ways. I've been tinkering a lot in the lab, and I want to kind of run that theory into practice by running businesses specifically into the data center. So like one line for like the businesses. I don't know if I can even loop back. I tried to do a loop back. I see people talking about bugs with, you know, routes looping back in the Discord, and I'm like, how do you do it? Please just tell me, bro. I want to know. But yeah, I can't quite manage to get that working if I want to make a circular kind of like traversal loop. But then again, that would brick my traversal load, so probably not do that. I will quickly show you the routing rules for the first floor. So this router here, so as we can see, anywhere into specifics, and that would look like route add to specifically like one DNS via, you know, port 4, is what that would look like. So number 1 would just be like that. I don't do traffic specifics, and I do not do DNS without an endpoint, which is kind of funny that I say that, considering there is a server running DNS Lite with no network address because it's been replaced. But yeah, I set every user's DNS address to their main and the backup. And if I'm not using, there's a couple of settings whenever you start a new game in Endless Babel, advanced options. Specifically, DNS local mappings. I typically turn this on, and request need net address. So I turn both of those on, which is kind of feral, but you know, I like to play that way. I like to have a little bit. It's like why I'm playing this game in the first place, is to feel the torture of it. But yeah, I also lower hardware reset just a smidge. Like it feels pretty high on 0.3. I lower it to 0.1 or straight up turn it off. Even though I do use DHCP to set network addresses if devices turn off. It's just annoying when the hardware itself resets and all your DHCP mappings are completely pointless now. You know, because you set the user mapping for this hardware address for this specific user. Well, they changed it, so you know, now you have to change your DHCP. It's just a pain. It's a pain. It's annoying. It's frustrating. But it can be fun sometimes. It's fun to go to, you know, individual floors when things go wrong and, you know, try and figure out what has gone wrong. In the sense of fixing it oftentimes nets you a bunch of money. And I also generally set my day period to very high because I like to play slow, and it gives you time to respond to stuff because I'm slow. I like to do things slow. I like to just take it easy. Play this game while I have coffee or tea or something like that. I do not mess with the high net address length. I do not touch it. It is perfect the way it is. I feel really, really bad for the people that were forced to play with low net address length during the early days. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's kind of how I like to play. I like to just chill. Like I don't play on intern, admin, architect, and I don't have any friends to play multiplayer, so bad luck. But yeah, I hope that explains a bunch of stuff and helps you kind of get a vibe, get started. So I hope that all your towers are, you know, nice and good. And yeah, thank you for stopping by. Have a great day or evening, whichever you like. Yeah, take it easy.